Thank you for joining us on the Faith-Based Security Network. My name is Matt Stedham. We're glad that you're joining us. Today we have a very special panel discussion. We're going to be talking about the recent attack on the LDS church in Michigan. That's caught a whole lot of headlines in our news recently, and so that's what everybody's talking about. What we're going to be doing is trying to address some of the things that we know are facts. There's a lot of speculation out there. There's a lot of things that we still don't know, but there are some things that we do know. This was a vehicle-based attack to start with. And so we're going to be talking about that subject today. We've got a whole host of people joining us. Carl Chinn, Trent Steele, Michael Ellerick, Robert Ross, and Shanna Honeycutt here with us today. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask each one of you just to do a real quick, brief introduction. Give us just a real quick intro, who you are and what you do. So we're going to start with Carl.
All right. My name is Carl Chinn. I'm the president of the Faith-Based Security Network. We are a professional membership association of those who protect their faith-based organizations, be it a house of worship, a soup kitchen, a school, a ministry of any kind. And just so honored to share the professionalism of this organization with other people like you all see on the screen here today. That's what sets us apart, is the collective acumen of the many instead of the opinion of just one or two.
Absolutely. Trent Steele.
Yeah, my name is Trent Steele. I am the Director of Safety and Security at Prestonwood Baptist Church and Prestonwood Christian Academy in Plano, Texas, and Prosper, Texas. And spent 21 years as a special agent with the United States Secret Service before that. And looking forward to it. Thanks.
Trent gave a wonderful presentation at our SOS this year, and so he'll be hitting on some of those things as well. Robert Ross.
Yes, Robert Ross, Security Services Director for Cornerstone Church, Cornerstone Christian Schools. Over 25 years in church security, school security, and over 35 years in law enforcement.
Excellent. And our SOS event this year was at Robert's church. His church had a vehicle incident, so he'll be talking a little bit about that. Michael Ellerick.
Michael Ellerick, Public Safety Training, President of Public Safety Training and Church Security 101. 30 years in law enforcement, retired. We train churches throughout the country, and I've also authored several books on church safety and security. And we run a blog, and we talk about just about everything that has to do with church safety and security, including the ramming incident that we're about to talk about.
Absolutely. We'll link to that in the comments. There is a wonderful article that Michael wrote about vehicle ramming back, I believe it was in May, earlier this year. And so now we're starting to see these things come to fruition. And then Shanna Honeycutt.
Hi, I'm Shanna Honeycutt. I have worked for the Faith-Based Security Network for quite a few years now, and I lead the Deadly Force Incident Study with the FBSN, so that's what I will be adding to this group.
Awesome. So, Carl, we're going to start with you. A real quick question to you. You often get media requests after events like this, and I know that your schedule has been pretty full of people wanting to talk to you about this attack. So tell me, what kind of questions are people asking? What kind of information are people looking for right now in light of this attack in Michigan?
Well, it depends on who's asking. Most of the news media is wanting to, and as you can imagine, I've been interviewed multiple times the last couple of days. They're looking for talking points. They want to know what they can put out there. They don't say that, but they're looking for the hot buttons and the high level things, which is all right. But the calls that I enjoy the most are those who come from individual churches and ministry leaders. I've had 2 calls this week from LDS operators, and they just want to know, what should we be doing? And the number one thing I tell them is be intentional, and have your church leadership behind you, and have a very intentional program. Don't base it on guns or no guns. Be intentional.
Yeah, these sort of things don't happen by accident. You have to be intentional in these. Let's go to Shanna. Shanna, this is a vehicle-borne attack. Seems like we've been seeing more vehicle attacks this year in general. What kind of trends do we see as far as church attacks and vehicles? Is this on the uptick, or is this kind of an anomaly?
Yeah, we just met to do another series about this, about the increasing trends. Our study is current through 2021. So we were really looking at what the increasing trends were starting in 2021. And the three big takeaways from that were weaponized vehicles, bias motivated attacks, and then intervention, bystanders, people getting involved and helping to stop an attack. So the weaponized vehicles was not a huge surprise. So
yeah, it seems like this one was seems like it was a motivated attack by some ideology. Again, there's still a little bit to be determined on that for specifics. But again, it is something that we're seeing happening. And so, Trent, I'm going to go to you next. We were talking a little bit earlier, and especially at SOS, you did a fantastic presentation that if you weren't at SOS, man, I am sorry. You genuinely are poorer for not being there and hearing Trent's presentation on this. But he was talking about principles from his time in the Secret Service and things that churches can do to start thinking about extending that perimeter. So Trent, could you give us just a couple of ideas, maybe some things that you're doing, or just some best practices from the security industry on how to prevent vehicles threats from getting that close to our facilities?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I think since I've been an agent and I'm in this world now, I think one of the things that I've had to push back against the most with pastors and so forth is the idea that putting a bunch of guns inside the worship center is the answer to your problem. I'm not saying that's not important. I'm saying that the answer to your problem is pushing the perimeter out. Begin to fight that fight outside. As we know, from the amazing work that Shanna's been doing, 73% of these that result in death, the guy is doing us a favor by beginning to shoot outside. So if that's the case, then you need to be outside as well. And that's where the fight needs to happen. We don't want to have it in the middle of our living room, right? We want to have it outside. And so I would push the perimeter as far out as possible. There's a lot of ways we can discuss to do that. But ultimately, we've got to begin to push that perimeter out. Some ways to defend against VBIEDs and that kind of stuff is to slow that car down. So you can do that with serpentines. You can do that with a lot of different things, even if it's just sawhorses, but you can slow the vehicle down, make them serpentine, and of course, bollards, some sort of landscaping that defends your building would be the two primary ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I literally, right before I got onto this call, I was outside. We've got an event coming up at the end of end of October, outdoors. And so we're talking about where are we going to strategically block people's access to this outdoor area with that? Because again, I think it's such a common thing, right? I mean, everybody comes to your facility pretty much in a vehicle. It's not uncommon to see somebody drive through, but we need to be aware that we don't want to let them get to certain places on our property, which is going to take me to Robert. Robert, you actually had an incident at your church very recently that involved a vehicle. Could you tell us just a little bit about how that went down, what kind of happened, and how you guys are working to mitigate that?
Yes, yeah. It was a Friday afternoon about 1:30. A new church member decided to drive his truck through the South Plaza and into the south doors of the church. Intentional. Security got him out of the truck, and first words out of his mouth was that God told him to do it. Luckily, he didn't have any affiliations with anything. He just was a person that wasn't in his right mind, let's say. We had just completed construction on the South Plaza, and we're in the process of putting temporary bollards in, limestone blocks, and he unfortunately beat us to getting them in. That happened, like I said, at 1:30. About 12 o'clock the next day, of course, limestone blocks were all over this campus, blocking every entrance into the building. And as you are, October is our Feast of Tabernacles, a 3-day event where we have 20,000 people on in our parking lots with food trucks and carnival rides. And I've reached out and got actual vehicle barriers coming in from Austin to block every entrance that we have. Costs a little bit of money, but with today's events, it's money well spent. So, yes.
Yeah, definitely money well spent. And talking about planning out and having an intentional plan, planning how you're going to spend your money. Michael, I want to turn to you now. Your article laid out a really wonderful example of, some of the things that churches can do, some of these best practices as you're starting to think through your facility, as you're starting to talk about coordinating with responders. Could you share just a little bit of some of the best practices that churches can adopt?
Well, I think what Trent said is right on. The further outside that you catch, that you observe the threat, the less damage it's going to do to the church. So having your security team, your safety team, a lot of churches, when the meeting starts, the safety team comes inside and participates. We have to remember that we are our most vulnerable when we are in prayer and in worship. And so when our congregation is focused on the meeting, our safety teams have to be vigilant and focused on their safety. And that means not only in the meeting, but outside. We have to ensure that we keep our eyes outside. We keep our people physically watching, but we also keep somebody in the camera room watching the videos from showing the entries into the church and showing the perimeter of the church as well, to make sure that we can observe threats long before they get to the building so that we can do something about it.
I love how you put that, having somebody watch the cameras. I run into churches all the time. Again, as a pastor, as an active shooter intruder response instructor, as a law enforcement academy instructor, I get people who ask me questions. Hey, should we install cameras? And my answer is always, only if you've got somebody to watch them. Otherwise, it's just evidence after the fact. Everybody thinks, oh, we'll stick a camera up and then nobody will do anything. But they forget to remember, everybody's on camera all the time these days, and these things still happen. So the cameras themselves,
It's an
they've got
early
to
warning
be
system.
early warning
It's an
system.
early warning system if we have somebody watching. Otherwise, it turns into evidence, right? Just like Sutherland Springs did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So last question, and I would love to hear from everybody on this. As we're thinking about specifically the problem of vehicle-borne attacks, what are some things that maybe those people, those eyes either on the cameras or those eyes in the parking lot, are there any things that you could be aware of, be looking for to kind of tip you off as an early warning? Like we're saying we're trying to extend the perimeter, we're trying to do the right things. What kind of things can we look for to tip us off before that vehicle actually starts its attack? Let's start with Trent.
Yeah, I would say that it's probably pretty rare that this person just drives up and does this. Just like any attack, there'll be a pre-attack surveillance, that type of stuff. So they will likely be in the area beforehand, whether that's the day of or maybe the days before. But we need to begin to notice multiple sightings in short amount of times of vehicles when possible. And so that's a training thing, and that's something that we've got to train our team for. Hey, I've seen this truck 4 different times. Can we run in a license plate? Can we figure out whether or not these people go to our church or not? Is there something going on here? But a much more proactive look into that.
Same question for Robert. What are some things that people can do to start seeing these problems before they're actually a problem?
Yeah, the biggest thing is what Trent said. Yeah, both of y'all have said different things that are very important. Having somebody watching cameras, so that they're watching cameras days before a Sunday, like Trent said, somebody scoping out the area, but also on the day of, having somebody watch those cameras. Suspicious vehicle just circle around the parking lot, driving up to the curb, just acting suspicious. We have incidents in our parking lots all the time. We had 2 in our parking lot this past Sunday that we had to react to. So, pushing that perimeter out, watching it, absolutely, very important.
Michael, little bit different take on the same question. What are some things you can do in preparation, maybe with talking to first responders, so that if an event happens, what can you do to be prepared to react to that?
I would say this is a good opportunity for all churches right now to do a quick risk assessment specifically for this threat. And I'd give you two resources. You can use the CISA vehicle ramming tool. You can literally get on their website. It comes right up and answer a few questions, and it'll spit out a report for you on suggestions specific to your building that you can take. And the second thing I would recommend is most local law enforcement throughout the nation will come out and do a SEPTED assessment on your building, on your perimeter. Get a hold of them right now and ask them to come out and do a assessment specifically for a vehicle ramming situation. And you can take those two resources to heart and start to make some preparations to safeguard your building right now.
Wonderful resources. Shanna, how can people learn a little bit about what might be happening using the DFI study?
Well, I have gone through the 177 incidents that we have in 23 years of weaponized vehicles. And some of the themes that I've seen whenever the narrative is put together is there's erratic driving in the parking lot before they ram their vehicle into the church because there's either a domestic fight going on or something along those lines. But also these really targeted attacks. There was one in 2021 against a Jehovah's Witness church where she was hostile towards the Jehovah's Witness for being excommunicated. So there's several of those where you have disgruntled parishioners that people can watch, and then there's leakage a lot of times on social media before an incident. And we also talked about one in a parking lot when we met earlier, where a man had said he was going to come back and run over people, and then he came back 30 minutes later and tried to do just that. So there are those warning signs. Take them seriously.
Take them seriously. As one of the instructors that I teach with constantly says, I don't know this person. They've never lied to me before, so I'm going to take them at their word. If they say they're going to do something, pay attention to it.
There's actually been 3 DFIs in the past where a vehicle ramming and fire were used together. So the first one is January 11th of 2014 in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this is a man that had set fire to his own home. And then he drove to St. Luke, the Evangelist Catholic Church, where he crashed his car into the front doors. And then he set sanctuary on fire. So he then shot himself with a 12-gauge shotgun. Nobody else was hurt in this attack. That was back in 2014. And then we have one in 2020 at Queen of Peace Catholic Church in Florida. This is 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday while people are setting up for Mass. This is a man that was off his schizophrenia meds, and he woke up on a mission. He rammed his van into the church while people were inside of it and then set it on fire, causing extensive damage but not hurting anybody. He was arrested, said it was awesome, said he was a king, and blamed it on the Catholic Church being a problem, quoting Revelations. And then in 2021, we have another incident in July. That is the Jehovah's Witness attack where a woman drove her car into Kingdom Hall and then tried to set it on fire. And that was hostility over being excommunicated.
So again, not a new type of attack that we experience. This is something that has happened before, and we should take the opportunity to learn from those attacks, learn from the past so that we can be ready for the future.
Amen.
Carl, any last words of wisdom for us this morning?
Well, I wanted to clarify of those 170, I think it's 177 vehicle-borne attacks, not all of those rammed the church. Some of those ran over people in the parking lot, or ran through a crowd, or rammed another vehicle out in the parking lot. But uh, uh, around 20 of them were vehicles that actually came right into the church. I love hearing what everybody's saying about pushing the perimeter out. First thing is get an intentional team. Don't leave it up to happenstance. Uh, there's churches out there that just want to say, well, we've got Bud and Joe. They're both police officers, so we know they've got it covered. I had that conversation with an LDS church today. They said we've got 4 police officers in this particular ward. I said, do they know each other? And they admitted to me that they probably know each other, but they don't really have a plan, if that's what you're asking. And I just encouraged them, get them to make a plan. Hey, are you going to be there Sunday? You're not. So I am. Who else is going to be there Sunday? And what are we going to be watching for? That's the first step in all this. Then the second step, as you've been hearing, move that perimeter out. Once you've got the team that's going to be looking at it, have them focus on keeping the battle outside.
And I'll just come back to that from the perspective of, again, we're here to do ministry, right? We're here to minister to people in our community. 2 quick examples at our church. We watched the parking lot. We've extended that perimeter. And over the past 6 months, we've seen 2 vehicles that caught our attention that we were thinking, maybe something going on here. One of them was a family that was trying to change a baby's diaper, but they were over in the side of the vehicle, digging around, and we didn't know what they were doing. They were trying to change a baby's diaper, and they had forgotten their diapers. We had diapers. We brought them diapers, and so we were able to minister to that family right there. The other one was, again, somebody was pulled up on the corner of our parking lot and digging around in the back of their vehicle. They had a flat tire. It was a young lady who didn't know how to change a flat. Well, we were able to change the flat for her and be able to minister. So again, part of why we do security, really the main reason why we do security, is a ministry mindset. We're here to protect the houses of worship that we're working with so that we can do ministry and so that we can do so in a matter of safety. Folks, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today on this call. Thank you so much to Carl and to Trent and to Michael, to Robert and to Shanna for sharing your wisdom with us. We're looking forward to doing more of these panel discussions on topics. And so if you've got a topic that you would like for us to discuss, drop it down in the comments. Let us know what you need to hear from us. And also consider visiting our website, FBSNamerica.com. Whether you are a security operator at a house of worship and want to join as a membership, or you want to explore the Deadly Force Study, or DFI study, that tracks these sort of things, you can find that information by going to our website, clicking the About tab, and clicking Deadly Force Study. But in the meantime, I pray the Lord blesses you and keeps you, make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he turn his presence towards you and give you peace as you stay ready, willing, and able to defend your people.